Hello, my friends, and welcome to the next video in the Create Better Content series, where I show you how to tap into your creativity so that you can always stay consistent with your marketing and reach more customers. My name is Penny, and I'm going to be your guide through this unique creative content development process. I'm going to teach you how to create engaging content for social media, remarkable content for your sales pages, amazing content for your email sequences, all of these things together to help you reach more customers. And if you want to learn more about creativity and how this can help you develop your content marketing plans, I would love to see you hit that button below and subscribe to this channel. And below in the description box, you are going to see some links. The first link that you're going to see is for the Content Calendar Blueprint program. This is an email-based training. It's a comprehensive guide that's going to help you develop a content calendar. And it's going to be based upon what your business needs, where you are, and what your goals are to actually utilize your marketing. So it's going to take you through some steps of not just how to, fill out a content calendar, but all of the things that you need to know with your content and how to get this whole thing set up and ready to go to reach more customers. The second link that you're going to see and so that you can join us in the Marketing Strategy Collective. And you can personally go through this process of developing remarkable content. And you can do it in an online supportive group space. And you can do this with me. And you can actually work with me and see what happens with your marketing strategy when you experience creative activities, when you get the training, when you actually have the opportunity to work through things with the other like-minded business owners that are in the group. All of these things together are going to help you improve your marketing strategy. So you see the links, you see them links below in the description box, and you know what to do to learn more. Okay, so let's get going here today. So today's video is going to be my last video for this year. I'm going to be taking off for the rest of the year for the holidays, and I need to take some time off to recharge and refresh and all of those R type of words before we get into the new year. But as I wrap up the year with you, what I wanted to do today is I wanted to do something a little bit different. I wanted to actually share one of the chapters in my book. Actually, that book link is below too as well, called I Just Did a Thing, where I'm going to, my book is basically teaching you how to use your creativity and tap into it to help you make a change in your business or even your personal life. And I wanted to talk about, there's a part in this book that I believe is so important for you, especially as you are now ending this year and looking towards the new year. Because if you've listened to any of my video podcasts, you have heard me talk about my video episodes, you have heard me talk about creativity. You have heard me talk about tapping into your creativity. Tap into your creativity, never run out of content ideas. I've talked about creativity to help you sort through any challenges that you have in your business. I've talked to you about a creative approach to making a change in your business and your life. So what I want to do is I'm going to read the chapter, but I'm going to add some additional commentary to this because I want you to know that it's not just me reading a chapter from a book. This is stuff that I've actually experienced myself. These are things and steps that I've actually seen my clients experience in their businesses, and all these things together to help us all reach our goals in our business. So let's get started here. All right, chapter 2 of the book called I Just Did a Thing. Okay. We're all born creative. Are you an artist? Of course you are. Artists make change happen. Artists are human who do generous work that might not work. Artists aren't limited to just paint or something hanging in a museum. You're an artist as soon as you announce that you are. Because as a leader, a coach, a content creator, a designer, a musician, an impresario, it's art if you let it be and if you care enough. That quote is by Seth Godin, and it's a great way for us to lead into chapter 2. Because chapter 2 is actually called We Are All Born Creative. Because we can all be creative. And I want you to think about that. I want you to think back to the time when your parents brought home a new TV or something really, really huge like a refrigerator or any kind of other appliance and had this great big box. Do you remember those days when the thing in the box was cool, but the box itself was even cooler? It was super cool. And you're really eyeing that huge piece of cardboard that was tossed to the side. And instead of paying attention to what was happening with the thing that was in the box, for the next several hours, or even for people like me, the next several days, you played with that box. And that, do you remember those days? Do you remember when your imagination just took over? What was it? Did you build a castle? Or maybe a boat? And then ask yourself, why did you spend so much more time playing with that cardboard box instead of watching the new TV? Think back to those moments when you were a kid. And that box was more than just a piece of cardboard. You were using your imagination and you were being creative. Nobody had to teach you what to do with that box. You just knew what would happen when you got out the markers and a pair of scissors. And so as we move through this process together, as we start moving into the new year, I'm asking you to believe that you can be creative. Even if the last time you picked up a crayon was when you were 5 years old, or maybe it was a time when you were sitting at the kitchen table with one of your kids and you were coloring with them. So as we move into the new year, I want you to think about how you can dig deep into this process of tapping into your creativity. Because I am sure of this, that when you do these things, when you start to move through this process, you're going to start to uncover something deep inside of you. Something that you might not have felt since you were that little kid playing with a cardboard box. I mean, I'm being honest with you here. When I look back on my childhood, I realize we had quite a lot of creative energy flowing in my house. Both my mom and my sister played the piano, and then later on my sister learned how to play the clarinet. And when I reached an age that was old enough to dig into my own musical talents, my mother asked me if there was a particular instrument that I was interested in learning. And without hesitations, I said, the drums. I want to learn how to play the drums. And if I'm being honest with you folks, this is part of the commentary. As an adult, I still want to learn how to play the drums. It is still on my list of things to do. But, going back to my book, but as a parent now, I can certainly understand my mother's concerns with my enthusiastic response. She was thinking about the noise that drums would make in our small 2-bedroom apartment. And so my mother's response, as she shook her head, she said, how about we sign you up for art classes? And I was like, oh, okay. And thus began my love of creating art. I took any art class or program in my community, and that just kept feeding my desire to create art projects. And by the time I reached high school, art class was just my standard for my elective classes. And by that point, I had really moved past just an ordinary drawing of fruit baskets. But during those younger days, I would never have called myself an artist, or even creative for that matter. I didn't see my future as somebody who would make art for a living. I didn't even know why I was drawn to painting. I don't know why I would draw pictures of my stuffed animals that were on my bed. I created purely for the pure sake of creating, of moving through the process of creating. And I certainly wouldn't have called myself an artist when I took art classes in my 20s that coincided with pursuing my second college degree in the visual arts. Nor would I have considered myself an artist or creative during that time when I tried to write a kid's book in my 30s. that book. I still actually have that manuscript someplace in my office. And I keep telling myself one of these days I'm going to pull that thing out and look into it again. But nope, even during that time, I would not have labeled myself as a creative. I have a business degree. I have a marketing business degree. And I have spent most of my life working in some form, shape, or capacity in marketing. I just never could see how somebody who was a marketing consultant could be qualified to call themselves as a creative. Because I always connected that term with somebody who made their living selling art. And I certainly didn't look at myself in a creative way until I found myself developing this process that we work together in the Marketing Strategy Collective. This process that I refer to as the creative insight process. And that became the foundation of my business. That became the cornerstone of how I would work with my clients. And that became this whole idea of why I wanted to help people to tap into their creativity, which has led to these monthly group programs, which has led to the marketing programs, which has led to the Marketing Strategy Collective. All of those things stemmed from the idea of actually seeing myself as a creative person and developing the creative insight process. The process that I developed is one of the core ideas that I use with my clients. And it's one of the things that I talk about when we all get together for our monthly Zoom sessions on the collective. It's about how business owners, how us marketing folks really do need unstructured playtime. Because all of this stuff together, when we add this in, when we add unstructured playtime in, it's into your to-do list, into the things that you are going to be doing to help you build your business. It's also a really significant piece to help you develop your content strategy. And I know this because for the past 20 plus years, I have coached women in various stages of owning small businesses. Working from people who have an entrepreneurial spirit to those who have been in business for years. And I designed this product, this program, this process to give them the tools to activate the creative side of their brain. Because I personally subscribe to this theory that we are all born creative. We just need to learn a path to help bring that creative energy out of us and into our lives. And let me be honest here. Let me put out this piece to you. More than being honest, when I talk about creative energy and when I talk about being creative, it's not about painting like I've done in the past, or drawing, or writing a kid's book. Being creative is the thing that's going to help you make the change. It's the thing that's going to help you develop your content that you're really wanting to develop. It's the thing that's going to help you reach new communities and connect to new customers. And you're gonna have, if for those of you who don't know what I mean by being creative, and you think that I'm asking you to be an artist, I am totally not. What I'm asking you to do is to find things that you're doing, find things that you enjoy doing, find things that you're passionate about doing that actually tap into the right side of your brain. Because that is the way out. This is the way that we start to see ourselves as being creative. So let me, if you're having a hard time understanding this, let me try to break this down a little bit more. Let me talk about this whole brain stuff, because we've got our left side of our brain, which has always been referred to as the analytical side, and then we have the right side of our brain, which everybody calls, the creative, emotional side. And when you're tapping into your creativity, especially like to develop your content or making a change in your business or dealing with any kind of challenge or something like that, we have to understand that what's going on here is not just us functioning off the left side of our brain and being analytical and trying to talk through the problem, trying to work through the problem. It's about how we're going to tap into our brain where we can start to think differently. And I mean thinking differently in the sense of, I think that most of the times when it comes to our marketing and when it comes to, our businesses in general, we get into ourselves into such a habit, into such a routine, that we find ourselves moving into autopilot. And when we find ourselves living in this routine and living in this space, it has everything to do with our comfort level, because that's where our brain lives. Because here's the thing, as human beings, we are all predisposed to do the same things over and over and over again, whether it's working for us or not. And because we find ourselves doing the same thing over and over and over, we tell ourselves, well, this time we'll do something different. Well, this time this will work. But then we always go back to the same thing. We always go back to the routine. We always go back to the autopilot. I mean, what's that expression? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Well, that's what we're doing to ourselves. And that's what we're doing to ourselves when we're creating our content. That's what we're doing to ourselves when we're trying to challenge, when we're dealing with a challenge in our business or even making a change in our life. We continue to find ourselves staying in the same place year after year after year, but wanting something so different to happen. And thinking that, oh, we'll just, add this new app, or, bring in a virtual assistant to help us. And, all of these things are supposed to be happening, because what we're trying to do is, instead of thinking about what's going on in our brain and what's going on in our bodies themselves, wanting so bad to have something different to happen, but not really able to make this kind of a change. And I get it. I totally get it. Because it's really not your fault. This isn't something that we were taught in high school, and it's certainly something that we're not being taught in college. And that's one of the reasons that I talk about this so much when it comes to my clients and when it comes to the collective and what we do in the group program. And that's why I wanted to share this on this video episode today, because I really think this is so important for you to get, because it's a different way of looking at things. It's a different way of making a change. It's a different way of really understanding your creative energy and how this is going to help you build your business and how this is going to help you make changes into your content strategy so that you're actually able to reach the customers and clients that you're really looking for. So tapping into your creativity to create the content that we know is going to resonate with the customer, with that particular client out there who's going to hit that buy here button. And maybe even end up being one of your greatest loyal fans. This is what we want. Because, well, here's the thing about all this. I get it, because we haven't been shown any other way to turn these ideas that you have swirling around in your head into real income producing products and services. And maybe it's not even that you just haven't been shown a way to do this. There's been other things that have happened in our lives and other things that have affected, our thoughts and our processes. Other things that have happened, maybe feeling rejection because we didn't get that client project, or maybe feeling hurt that, we weren't able to, to grow that launch that we wanted to do. It didn't work as well as we had wanted it to. And here we are thinking, why didn't it work the way that it was supposed to? I followed everything that they did. I signed up for a class. I went to the workshops. I went to the Facebook group. Why didn't this work for me? I don't understand. Because I know there's tons of advice out there. There's so many, blog posts and YouTube videos and classes that you can sign up for and group programs that you can be a part of. And you know what? I did all of that. I read them all. I don't want to say all of them, but I read tons of stuff. I watched videos. I signed up to the programs. And I kept thinking over and over and over again, I get what you're saying. I see what I'm supposed to do. I followed your steps. I did all of the things that you told me to do. So why am I still here? Why am I still feeling this way? Why am I still feeling rejected? Why am I still feeling hurt? Why am I still feeling confused that if I followed all of the steps that you told me I was supposed to follow, why didn't this work for me? Why didn't that launch work for me? And it wasn't until that I started to understand about how I tapped into this creative insight process and I tapped into the idea of spending time in my creative energy that really things started to shift for me. And they started to shift and they started to move forward. And I started to find my focus with my work. And I started to I feel good. And I wrote that book because I wanted to share this information with people, because I know what's out there. And unfortunately, that information that's out there, it doesn't seem to go beyond these recommendations that you've just got to work harder. You've just got to work smarter. You've got to, believe you can do it. All of that stuff. Say your affirmations and you can do this whole change. And it doesn't always work like that, because I don't want to say that the process is messed up, and it's not you. It's just that I think that we've all been missing that extra piece of finding ways to tap into our creativity and to understand that if we go further, if we go beyond just following somebody's template, if we have the time, if we spend the time doing something creative in our, what I refer to is spending time in your creative energy. And that could be anything, like taking a walk in a new neighborhood, sitting in your garden, window shopping, doing things like that that's actually going to stimulate the right side of your brain to get you to stop thinking about the same analytical problem over and over again, but to give you an opportunity to tap into that right brain, to tap into those insights, to tap into those aha moments that that you've had. And think about when you've had those. You've had those, when you're taking a shower, or when you're going for a walk with your dog, or when you're driving. Those are the moments when we actually are able to relax and we're not so focused on our business and being sitting there at our laptop and, and demanding of our left side of our brain to come up with an answer right now. And so I truly believe that there's a whole lot more to your growth of your business than just, trying to understand how many of X number of products that you need to sell to reach this income goal. There's so much more to it than that. And that I'm going to do this more. I'm going to start sharing more. So if you'll continue to listen, and I would love to see you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of these video episodes. Coming into this year, I hope you continue to listen to me, and I hope you continue to follow along as I move through the creative insight process, as I show you how you can have an opportunity to set yourself free from the same thing over and over and over again, and to move past that moment of feeling like insanity of doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. What if you did something different, and that way you can get different results? So I hope you follow along with me in the next year and learn how to learn more about this creative insight process and get this opportunity to set yourself free by navigating into a new direction, one that allows you to tap into your creative energy, because you're going to see real changes in your business. You'll use this to see changes in your life, and it'll change everything else around you. So thank you so much for joining me today on this creative journey. If you've enjoyed this content about creative content development, I hope you'll hit the share button, and let's keep this conversation going. And if you're done with doing this on your own and you are looking for some help for your marketing strategy, I would love to see you join us in the Marketing Strategy Collective. You're going to get some personalized feedback on your marketing efforts. We can help you with your sales pages, your launch email sequences. We can even help you understand about how to tap into your creativity. So stop working in a solo bubble and join us over at the Collective to work in a collaborative space and get all the help that you need to see real growth for your business in 2025. You are magnificent, my friend, and let me be the first to say, I'm proud of you. Until next time.